You want to cover as much audience as possible. And if you're covering the football one, why you forget about the esports?
You're listening to 15-Minute Mastery, a show that empowers you with insights from leading iGaming experts to enhance your personal or business performance. The show is brought to you by the AI-powered data analytics platform Blask and supported by tech-driven affiliate and media company Already Media, Lala Stars, the leading casino partnership program, and Next.io, the world's iGaming community. Hi everyone, and welcome to 15-Minute Mastery. Today, we're deep diving into the exciting world of esports betting with one of the industry's leading experts. Stepan is a very good friend of mine, and he is a renowned authority in both esports and sports betting. He has built and managed esports vertical at Parimatch, which is one of the world's leading iGaming operators, and now runs business development and iGaming software provider. Stepan is here to share insights on the unique aspects of esports betting and how iGaming operators can effectively tap into this growing market. Stepan, my friend, welcome to 15-Minute Mastery.
Hello, Dmitry. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Let's start.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us. So let's start with basics. Esports betting landscape. Can you give us a snapshot of the current esports betting market? What is the size? What is the growth rate? And how does it compare to traditional sports betting?
We have to understand that the esports betting, this is a consistent part of the traditional sports betting. But the share is not so significant as everybody expects. I think that the general sports traditional betting GGR worldwide this year, 2024, around 90 till 120 billions of USD dollars. And inside this, esports betting could be something around 800 millions up to 1 billion of GGR this year. It's really interesting that in different countries, it could be really various. For example, in Greece or in Italy, or even in Spain, but in Spain it's slightly different picture, esports betting volume could be almost zero because we have a lot of audience that is playing these video games. They are not popular because in Greece you have a lot of sun, you have not so powerful internet as everybody expects, and this is not a culture as, for example, in Scandinavian countries, or for example in the countries where we have big cities really with a high industrial history, if you could say something like this. This is Poland, Germany, France, and others. Of course, all of the countries of Eastern Europe historically plays a lot esports games, and as well they place a lot of bets. I think that growth rate for the esports betting is around 20% per year, and in general sports betting 9-10%. So esports is growing much more faster. Why? Because people are growing up. For example, if you'll take a snapshot from audience, it's up to 40 years old because the most popular esports title, CS, exists for 25 years. So we have a lot of people that started to understand this game 20 years ago. They still love it. And they are not, I can say, extremely young persons. They're still young, of course, but they love this game. They still understand the rules, and they could place a bet or something like this. So it really depends on the region. Even in Latin America, in Brazil, we have esports. In Peru, we have esports. In Chile, almost doesn't have. So this is the question of research, and it couldn't be covered in so short podcast.
Okay, so you mentioned markets. I heard Nordic countries, Latin America as well. And you also mentioned CS as one of the top games. So can you deep dive us into games? So which are, games are most popular? Which esports titles are driving the most betting action?
Okay, no problem. CS is the king. I think it's around 60-70% of whole esports betting in the world. Dota 2 and League of Legends are number 2 and number 3. League of Legends are not so big as everybody expects because of the Riot Games, they put a lot of restrictions on the betting advertisement. Maybe it will change soon, but right now Dota is a bit bigger. I'm speaking only about the esports betting volumes. Valorant is really small because the audience of Valorant is a bit younger than in CS, and the game itself is really new. So we have no people that grown up with this game and have a lot of money to place a bet on it, if like to short it and to make it as simple as possible. And I think that the rising star here is MLBB. This is Mobile Legends. Unbelievable, extremely popular game from the Southeast Asia. A lot of audience. It's one of the biggest esports titles right now in the world. It's really fast. You can play on your mobile. And of course, the gambling in this area are not fully legal, but of course, because a lot of people are interested in this game, betting, of course, exists. I think it will be something really promising because this is true esports on mobiles. But as I said before, CS, number one, king of esports betting, Dota 2, number two, Dota 2 number two, League of Legends, Valorant, and Mobile Legends. As well, I'm not sure about the volumes. I just only can do some kind of predictions, but the audience in this game and the way of the game, because 3 people playing versus 3 people, much more interesting than PUBG Mobile or Free Fire. That is really huge as a games in mobile, but it's not comfortable to place a bet on these games.
Interesting. So it feels like still the top of the rankings are older games, especially like as you mentioned, with a big fan base. And it feels like these are mostly desktop-driven games, while the mobiles are still small but growing. So this is right, yeah?
You're right. Desktop is much more interesting than mobile. Still, but it could change. As well, CS is something, as for me, really similar to basketball. Every time action, every round action. The most popular markets, this is the map winning because the match itself, game itself, consists really often from 3 maps. We call it best of 3. So you have to win at least 2 games to win all the best of 3. And the most popular market, this is the winning of best of 3 or winning in specific map. It could be first map, second map. And of course, this is the totals. Total rounds, the same as in basketball. People grown up with this game. Yeah. So, and of course, if you will take a look where it's popular, Scandinavian countries, all Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia as well. In China, it's popular. Australia, South Africa, Brazil, Northern America, Canada a bit, and that's all. So it's almost worldwide game.
Okay, this is very interesting. So it leads me to probably the question which triggers the most of minds these days, how to tap into this audience, right? So I think acquisition and retention is probably one of the most important topics in iGaming, no matter which niche we're talking about. So what are the strategies can you build to acquire and retain the esports better? So are the traditional marketing approaches are still effective, or does this audience require a different touch?
You are completely right. A bit different touch, but we have to understand that the esports, this is the great tool for brand awareness. One of the greatest tools that we could imagine. Why so? Because it's much more effective and cheaper than football, for example. If you will take a look on the Brazilian market, one of the biggest football club, it could cost around 30 millions. And the biggest Brazilian club, I couldn't share the numbers, but it's significantly less. Of course, the audience could not be compared, but still, you will have a lot of young people, and you have to consider this as not only your strategy that you have. Esports have to be always part of marketing pie. So that is why it's really useful for the big brands. I don't know, take a look on the Nike, for example. They have advertisement for everyone, for the older guys, for the guys with the disabilities, for the young guys, streetwear, basketball line, football, and so on. They want to cover everyone. The same with the betting company. You want to cover as much audience as possible. And if you're covering the football one, why you forget about the esports? So traditional way, brand awareness, sponsorship of the teams, sponsorship of the broadcast, as for me the most effective part. Working with the influencers, the same as a traditional sports, but less expensive and effective as well. Retention, interesting detail, but you have just to understand and speak the language of this audience to understand best of three, to provide some statistics, to provide special giveaways, special raffles that could be clear for this audience, just to be not like in this meme, like hello fellas, or something like this. So you just have to hire people who understand this audience, and just always remember, this is part of my marketing, not the whole marketing itself.
I think you're totally right, and that was very important to hear. Where you should not treat it as, probably the one and only part of your marketing strategy. This should be a part of the mix. So, and I think no matter which audience you will tap eventually into, basketball, football, you will need to speak their language. So I think you're totally right. But it leads me to a complicated question, which is probably around operational challenges. So in order to understand esports, which is quite a new niche, right? Which, you've been mentioning some games names, and I think for some part of the audience, this might sound like an artificial magic formula. So what are the biggest operational challenges while you offering the esports betting? How do you issue like data feeds, odds setting, risk management from traditional sports betting?
The risk management is almost the same. It's a bit difficult to understand it, but not a lot of companies at the moment have to do the risk and anti-fraud management themselves, because you have a suppliers. For example, at the moment on the market, you have up to 3 quite strong suppliers of everything is in one like channel, yeah. All the odds, all offering, and risk and anti-fraud as well. So you can just choose from your suppliers and to not build it yourself, because at the moment I don't know the company that trying to build themselves some kind of trading for, I don't know, for tennis. So if you are taking this as a feed, take as well as a feed esports. And how to not get in the trap, yeah? The same approach, research, understand what kind of esports feed your competitors using, research and compare the features that have your product and your competitor's product, and do conclusions, and after that go to suppliers and build it. As well, try to hire people who understand this and try to believe and trust. This is as well important.
Okay, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think getting a right software provider is probably a crucial part of any strategy. So it's great to hear that esports you can still find a decent professional software providers which will be able to provide you with the required feed. But in terms of the team to run it internally, so you mentioned you need to have the right set of people. So talking about the current available skill set in the market, so can you hire like easily the required esports professionals in-house to be able to build a full marketing mix, product mix? Like, are these people available somewhere out there, or it's still like a part of the unicorn you need to build and raise yourself?
It depends on your strategy. So the same question would be, it's possible to hire the marketing person who is really experienced in casino and in sports book at the same time, who understand the sports industry in general. So this is as well a complicated task. And you have to understand that this person have to know something around betting itself. And this is your task. So this is your task as a manager who understands how to run betting company, to teach and have a nice onboarding and to explain that, okay, if you understand the esports industry, right now I will teach you how to understand betting industry. So for me, the perfect mix is to hire people who understand two like pillars: esports itself and something about the marketing, digital part, offline part, the principles of marketing itself. So to understand what kind of what are you doing after all? You are promoting your brand, or you are trying to achieve a lot of FTDs from some of your action. But the main stuff that from the beginning, this person have to love esports and to understand what's going on in general, because this vice versa, it's a bit much more complicated stuff. Okay, I will teach you esports. I think it's not possible. You have to love it.
Yeah, true, true. I think this is how many of us got into the industry in first place, by loving something about the sports betting or casino or online pokers in my case, and then mastering the rest of it. I think this conversation has been insanely insightful, and this will explain a lot about the esports and esports betting most importantly. So thank you so much for this conversation, Stepan. I really enjoyed it, and I hope the rest of the audience will as well.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.